to order and call the roll, please.
Maresca. Here. Jones.
Here.
March.
Here.
Parker.
Here.
Ham.
Here.
Bowden.
Here.
All right, purpose of this meeting is for a public hearing to receive comment on the proposed village appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year 2018-2019. And there is no public present for comment. Any discussion?
Again, this is our ability to, this is where we make our statement as to what we are going to tax for. This is where we come up with our percentage every year for the property taxes and things like that to garner the money to enact the budget that you passed earlier this year. We cannot go above this amount, and this spells out the amount as we need it, so.
I've got a few questions.
Sure.
Starting off here on general fund, it says developer default $81,260. What does that mean, developer default?
Anything that we have in our subdivisions and things like that where we have money set aside for developer default, developer leaves, left no street done, no sewer done, something like that, we have that money available.
Do we actually set that aside in escrow, or we just budget for it?
Yes, we set it aside and it's rolled over.
Is that based on a percentage or of anything? Or?
It's based on the collections made at the time for each permit that's done, and then it's set aside, so.
And then once the developer completes the project,
Then we will refund the money.
this is actually...
Not all of, I mean, whatever his portion is.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. Under the category administration department, I see there's $10,350 allocated for travel. Do you ever travel anywhere? I mean,
Administration would include also the trustees travel, anything that you guys may go to, anything that I would go to, which no, I haven't. But that's always in there. In case we ever decide to go to ICSC in Vegas, in case we ever decide to do a full IML, which we haven't, but the money is set aside.
now the money's set aside, and I'm looking at the amount of money we anticipate coming in, and then what we're gonna spend, and that's just about a wash. So say we only spend $5,000 on travel, then where does that money go at the end of the year?
Well, this isn't a magic pen. I mean, this isn't a number that just sits in a bank account and we just spend it, as it goes. I mean, this number fluctuates in a lot of different ways. So we're basing this on tax receipts that we're anticipating, and this budget is anticipating tax receipts. So it also has a little additional room in there for emergencies. So we may have to spend that on emergencies. You have, in the last year or so, a couple of times we've come back to move appropriation funds to other line items because we needed more in a particular item. So that's also that ability to have that. So it's good to have the additional monies there. But at the end of the year, we don't throw it into a pot and we got new money to spend. It keeps rolling, so.
Sales tax rebates, I see $150,000. That's from our car dealers.
Yes,
Do we know when those,
they're winding down. I think there's a couple of years left on each one. Maybe one has 3 or 4. Yeah, but they're winding down. And again, that's a best guess amount.
right, but based on historical?
Historical, right? If they have a fantastic year, it'll be more. If they have a so-so year, it may be less. So.
Is Steve Lynette still our village planner?
Yeah, when we have something, yeah.
He is.
He hasn't done anything in a long time.
I was just saying we allocated 11.5 for him.
Yeah. Again, the allocations are in Kipling.
And then on the next page, Gull Landings Pond Maintenance, $11,500. Doesn't that belong to the park?
It does, but then we've had certain situations where we've had to step in and fix things. So we put a little money in there in case we have to do that, and that homeowner association's been tenuous at best at times. So now it's back on. It was off for a while, so.
Do we pay to cut the grass? Or does the park?
Not that I know.
unless they got somebody else this year.
Not that I know of, no.
Right above that one, GASB road assessment. Page.
GASB 34.
Yeah.
Okay, GASB 34 is an accounting method that we have to do every year. It's a governmental accounting that tells us what we can depreciate on our roads and what our value of our roads are from year to year. Okay, so when we do our GASB 34 statement, they go all the way back to when the road was done. Take that cost at that time. That establishes your ability to depreciate from that. Now, depreciation doesn't do government any good. It's just an accounting method, okay? And that's how we take down the value of those things as we move forward. So we have to have an actual statement of GASB 34 and it has to be prepared by an accountant.
Greg, I saw the mobile app at $4,000, and I checked it today. I mean, it's not current with some of the changes we've had. I mean, is there still value there to?
No, we're in the last year of that, I do believe. It never did what we never would do.
Caught on, or?
In years past, under the economic development, we had like $3,500 in there for economic development. Is that in here somewhere? And the reason I bring it up was, I know several years ago, they used that kind of seed money for the Chamber of Commerce had business development or business exposure over at the high school.
We have an economic development department fund, and that's the things that they use in there. There is miscellaneous in there of 11.5 that you can use, but this is, don't forget, we got the downtown redevelopment coming up now. We got some things on I-57 moving forward a little bit. So, and then we also have some, tonight you'll be talking about having the engineers do the maps and planning for annexation that we have to do out on 57. So, so those are the kinds of things that you spend in that miscellaneous fund.
So I saw in the water and sewer, we didn't put money towards vehicles, which makes sense. But assuming a sale goes through, a lot of this money won't be spent, correct?
Right. Correct. Yeah, it's not a rush to spend.
Yeah.
It's just
Got to be there in case the sale doesn't
if
go
something
through.
doesn't happen, we may have to spend money, right? So rather than come back and reappropriate and do all that, it's better just to have it there and then it can be moved to another fund if we need to.
Right.
For purpose of comparison, would it be possible to have a budget, which we got, and then what the actual expenditures were for that budget year?
You get that every year.
To make a direct, I mean, like, I don't know, like a chart, where it'd be like line item.
You get that, she gives that, I don't know, I think she gives it to you guys where it shows the monthly expenses and then versus last year versus this year's year to date. It's a graph that you guys get, quite frankly, once a quarter at least, at the worst. That shows you what we've spent.
But for an annual basis.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah, at the end of the year, you get the finalized one.
and then a composite, like a summary for like 4 or 5 years, so we could kind of see trends.
Well, yeah, I think that actually goes back 3 years or more. Well, I can ask Marcy to do one, but I mean, I'm just saying, yeah, I think we already do that. I think
We can see where we're coming in
comparison.
high, where we're coming in low, where we've got maybe some money left over to use somewhere else, or,
Well, again, you can't just take appropriation money and say, I'm gonna do this.
right.
You guys have to get together, you guys have to say what you're gonna do, and you have to vote on it.
And only certain things can be moved into certain other areas, is that
Correct.
correct?
So you can't take money from enterprise funds and move them into general fund. Enterprise fund would have been the sewer and water fund. You can't do that, but now since everything is, you can't take money out of a TIF fund and throw it in the general fund because you're short somewhere. You can only spend money in that TIF district, okay? But other than that, in general fund, you can move money amongst itself very easily, so.
So is, when we sell the water and sewer system, is there gonna be money left over?
I would
in that fund that we're gonna have to,
Well, we don't have to refund it, we'll have to move it. We'll have to vote to move it.
we can vote to
Yeah.
move that?
And you'll probably want to keep a certain amount in there for future expenses that may come up that we didn't realize, like a bill that comes in. Sometimes bills come in 6 or 8
Right.
months later, you know what I'm saying, so. But by the new budget year, then you can have all that.
We're anticipating 33,000 in grants. Is that the historical number?
No. We got some grant money, don't forget, we got 16,000 last year, we got a little bit the year before. Anything that's out there, we go for, so
Mhm.
if we have it, then we've appropriated the expense.
Anything else? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will motion it, since there's nobody here.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Okay. Been moved by trustee Bowden, second by trustee Maravka. To adjourn.
Bowden?
Yes.
Maravka?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
March?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Hamp?
Yes.
All right. Take a short break. Come back.